All right. All right. Here's an interview with my fellow friend Juan Garcia. Okay, so you could say what's your role at CPP, how many years
All right,
you've been here.
cool. Hi guys, I'm Juan Garcia. I've been at CPP for 4 years, currently pursuing my bachelor's degree in architecture,
This is your fourth year.
fourth year.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions in this interview, and the first one is how your life was before COVID-19. So in a few sentences, how was your typical day before the pandemic?
Okay. Well, before the pandemic, I felt like life was easier, and I really had a set schedule for myself, right? Routinely, also, before I would wake up, get ready, go to work, etc. Or in other days, I would go to school and then go to work later on that day, without really having that fear of getting COVID.
Right.
Now it's kind of harder because now there's always that fear behind you of getting this disease that could impact your life.
Okay, so after the pandemic, I mean, there was a few changes I bet on your schedule, and
uh,
so I just have a question for you. In your current life right now, are there any frictions or barriers that prevent you from accomplishing your goals or getting things done?
yes, of course. I mean, like, my brother just started freshman year at high school, so that's kind of his first time feeling independent in a sense, and
Right.
he needs guidance. And not going to school and being on Zoom, this whole virtual world is kind of difficult for him. So me as the older brother, I have to help him out and also do my work, and get my work done. And it's kind of hard sometimes when he's asking me questions, interfering into classes, etc. And that's just difficult for me. And I mean, mom can't help him out because she's working herself too, trying to support us.
Right.
And that's probably the main barrier right now. Um, but yeah, other than that, it's still difficult.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, I have little sisters, and they don't
Yeah.
know how to use technology as much as we do, so I know how that can be a barrier. Um, okay, so my next question would be like, how would you solve these frictions? So in order to resolve them, um, what would you need or what would you want that would help you get things done in a better way now?
So just being at home is kind of difficult. You know, you have your bed here, so you kind of just want to say screw it, like screw work, screw school, and just go to bed for another hour or two. However, so I feel like having a different workplace would help out, a different environment, a different community.
Yeah.
And the way I overcame the barrier with my brother was, I told him to have a set, to basically write a list. So he's gonna write me a list every day of what he needs help with, and then ask me during a certain time period. It could be either during my breaks or after class, after work, etc. So
Okay.
that's the way I overcame my barrier. However, it's still hard. If he needs
Yeah.
some assistance like right there and then when he's in class, like who's gonna help him? Turn on his camera at Zoom if he doesn't know how. It's technology is different now, so that's
Okay.
probably one of the barriers that
Yeah. So like you just set a schedule instead, and like
yeah. So now I try to organize myself around a schedule where he and have open more availability throughout my schedule.
yeah. So now
But
he knows
it's still difficult.
when you're free, and then he can come to you at those hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, yeah. I bet he still like has trouble maybe when you're busy. So
Yeah.
I'm sure. Um. Okay. So I have a last and final question. Let's assume that the current lockdown conditions continue for a prolonged period of time. Do you think there would be any facilities, systems, or services that are necessary to cope with this current situation? And if so, what would they be?
So at the moment, I would say no. There aren't no facilities to cope with this situation. Even libraries now, it's kind of you go get a book, get out,
Yeah,
right? Um, so I just wish there was like either a private or a public place where um, we can all just get together, kind of like a studio, right? Where everyone's next to each other, having their own interactions. Even if there's a plastic barrier, I just miss the presence of others and motivation to keep going rather than just being at home and just dreading on the fact that everything's online and, you know, looking at a computer screen for 4 hours trying to communicate something to someone that it's easily to communicate in person.
Right, right.
So I just wish there was more like this environment where we can, even if it's a public park, you know, just something that allows for people to interact with each other.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it is kind of hard to like get things done through, through Zoom and everything, get your message across, while in person you could just say it in like 10 seconds and show a model or
Exactly.
something, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, this concludes our interview. Thank you, Juan, for joining me.
Thank you.
All right.